recording. So our kind of last session, a very interesting session that hopefully all of you will really enjoy, about bot framework and cognitive services, how you can link bot framework and cognitive services and use that for building intelligent bots. And our speaker, Prashant, the second Prashant speaker in the same conference, that's fantastic. Prashant, you're there? You can hear me? Are you on mute? We can't hear you if you're talking. Can anyone just raise your hand or just put something in text in chat if you can hear me? If anyone of the audience can hear me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Prashant, you're here.
Yeah, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. So Prashant, you're here? You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Now we can hear you very well. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
So yeah, so once again, thanks for coming on a Saturday to share your knowledge and experience, and we all really appreciate your time. Over to you. I don't want to take any of your time, so over to you. I'll let you crack on.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on Saturday. I know in some part of the world, it's pretty late in the day, and we have attendees from all around the world. I am from United States of America, and right now, here it's just 11 o'clock in the morning. But if you are in different time zone, thank you very much. And thank you very much for sticking till the last session of the day. So the title of today's talk is Building Intelligent Bots Using Microsoft Bot Framework and Cognitive Services. So this is a little bit about who am I. My name is Prashant G. Bhoyar. I was born and raised in India. I came to United States back in 2007 for studies. I'm University of Maryland College Park alumni. I co-authored a book called PowerShell for Office 365. I also acted as a technical reviewer for the book Pro SharePoint 2013 Administration. I am from Washington, D.C. area, and I organize a lot of in-person as well as virtual events over here. So right now we run 3 user groups. One of them is on AI and machine learning. Another one is on Office 365, and then also help running the NovaSQL user group as well. We organize quite a lot of events in Washington, D.C. area, and because of COVID-19, starting this year, we have started having those events like conferences virtual as well. So one of the conferences, Global Azure Data Fest, is happening on July 2nd. Here, we will be covering a lot of fantastic topics in big data, machine learning, and AI space. And there is another free virtual conference happening on 31st of July, which is focused solely on AI and machine learning and data science. I also help organize Global AI Bootcamp this year. Most likely it will happen somewhere around 13 to 14 January. And I also help organize SharePoint Saturday events in the Washington, D.C. area as well. I am recipient of Antarctic Service Medal, and I'm also recipient of a Microsoft MVP Award. Those of you who are not familiar with this award, this is just an additional recognition that Microsoft gives out to the people who does technical contribution. And I don't work for Microsoft, it's just additional title. And the technical contributions can be speaking at conferences, writing technical blogs, posting technical videos, or answering questions on various Microsoft forums. The award is valid for 12 months. And after 12 months, we have to submit for review and renewal. So right now, all the renewals are in progress. So we will know on July 1st, which is on Wednesday, whether I will be an MVP for another year or not. So first time I got awarded, it was in Office 365 apps and services, predominantly for SharePoint. And since last year, I transitioned to AI. I am currently working as Senior Solution Architect at Witham Digital. We are a US-based company. We have offices in UK and India as well. And I focus on intelligent business process automation, where I use a lot of Microsoft products like bots, cognitive services, Logic Apps, Power Automate, Power Apps. This is the flyer about our company. We have 3 Microsoft MVPs on the staff. We have done 100 plus Microsoft cloud deployments, and we have a dedicated team of 50 plus consultants solely focused on Microsoft ecosystem. And we have been in Microsoft space from long time. Like we have been Microsoft Gold partner from 17 years. And these are some of the capabilities that we offer right now. So this is a link about future events. I will also post that in the chat window. So if you're interested, you can join us in July. So this is going to be the agenda for today's talk. We will start with why bots, and then we'll talk about what is Microsoft Bot Framework, what is Azure Bot Service, how to get started, what are Microsoft Cognitive Services, how is the integration story between the bots and the cognitive services. We'll have lots of demos, and we'll talk about key takeaways and Q&A. Even though I mentioned Q&A towards the end, feel free to ask me questions at any time. I'm using 2 screens, so I can monitor the chat as well. So if you have any questions, post them in chat or use the feature in the Teams where you can raise the hand, or you can also unmute yourself and ask the questions as well. So let's talk about why this session. I know a lot of you are already like this conference is fully focused on chats and like bots and AI. But in case you want to convince your team members or your colleagues like why it's really important now for us to pay attention to this particular area, the area of AI and chatbots or the virtual agents, like why this is important for us. I personally think because of all the advancement that is happening in the computation, the tech industry in general is focusing using AI in business application. You may be hearing a lot of news or a lot of media hype around the driverless cars and autonomous cars, and all that is possible now because we have a really good processing power to support this kind of autonomous systems. And I think the AI and bots development is in the same stage where uh, mobile development was when iPhone 1 was launched. If you go back 13 years, 2007, when iPhone 1 came, very few companies were writing softwares for the mobile devices. Fast forward 13 years, pretty much like if you are a product development company or you are an ISV, you want to make sure your product works on mobile device. One of the and the same thing will happen where with AI and machine learning, where it will be a mainstream. That means if you're launching a product or if you're launching an internal enterprise application, your business users want to make sure, okay, you are using some kind of AI and machine learning with it. One of the example here I would like to give you is Robinhood. Robinhood is a US based company. They launched 3 or 4 years before. And what they do is they allow you to trade stocks for free without any commission. So initially, when they got launched 3 years before, they got really, really popular. And after 2 years, they finally, and when they launched, they only launched as a mobile app only. So the Robinhood was not available on desktop. After 2 years, they got immensely popular. And then finally, they released the desktop app. So you'll see the shift is already happening where mobile is the first choice when it comes to as a platform, and then if you have surplus fund, then you will go to the desktop. The same thing happened with the bots or virtual agents. And one of the key statistics I would like to highlight, and this stats is pretty old, it's from the 2017 holiday season. uh, During that holiday season, Amazon sold millions of Alexa devices, and that just these stats are only from the from the Amazon. Alexa is a voice-based bot from Amazon. There are similar bots available from other companies as well. You may have heard about IBM's uh, Watson or Google Home. So imagine if you see the trend that we saw when it comes, if you compare that with the mobile trend that we saw when iPhone 1 was launched, people started using smartphones for their personal lives. And slowly its adoption increases, and the organization, the government agencies, and the enterprises started slowly rolling out the smartphones in the workplace as well. So now, if you join a company, you are expected to have a smartphone or a mobile device. And imagine, and I think the same kind of a trend we will follow, and we will not notice it, but it will just happen where if millions of people are using devices like Alexa or Google Home, and they are getting comfortable using those devices at the home, sooner or later you will find the same kind of devices sitting on your desk as well. So if you are a business user, or if you are a IT pro, or if you are a developer, then you should know how to interact with this kind of devices, how to write customization that can work with these devices. And another key part is to use AI and machine learning right now, you don't need to be a data scientist. With the companies like Microsoft, Google, IBM, Amazon, what they have done is they have launched AI as a service, where as long as you know how to use their services, you can infuse AI in your application. And one of the analogies I would like to give you here is, if you have done any kind of web development, then you may have heard about the popular frameworks like Angular or React. And to use these frameworks, you don't need to know how these frameworks got built from the ground up. All you need to know is how to use these frameworks in your application. So same is the case with AI as a services, where you just need to know how to use these services in your application, and you can infuse AI in your application. This is the mission statement from Microsoft, where they want to make a data science and AI accessible to every enterprise, data scientist, developer, information worker, consumer, and devices anywhere in the world. And if you have seen the previous talk on Power Virtual Agents from Diane, that's really a good story that resonates well with this mission statement, because Power Virtual Agents are for creating intelligent bots for business users. You don't need to understand how AI works. You don't need to understand how the bot work in the backend. All you need to do is you just need to configure your bot, and you will have a working bot available for you. So when it comes to Microsoft AI platform, we can have the AI, different AI services. So under conversational AI, we have Azure Bot Service, and under AI as a services or AI as a model, we have cognitive services. And these are some of the resources. If you're totally new to the Microsoft AI system, AI ecosystem, you can follow these resources to find more information about, let's say, if you are interested in cognitive services, you can go here. If you're interested in bots, you can go here, and using these links, you can find out the tutorials around that. So let's say if you're totally new to the Microsoft AI ecosystem, and you just don't know where to start, because I was at the same stage 3 years before when I started playing with Microsoft AI stack, is where to start, because there is so many new technologies or so many new products out there, and I don't know which one is the right fit for me. So you can follow this flowchart, where when to use what. Are you interested in building your own machine learning models? If the answer for that is yes, then you can go with our various options that are available, which are Azure Machine Learning, or depending on whether you want to go on-premise or cloud, you have multiple options. But if you're like me, where you are just interested in consuming, like what's out there, like AI as a service, then cognitive services and bots are for you. And in today's talk, we'll be covering cognitive services and bots. So let's talk about why a bot. Why we should bring bots into the enterprises now, because bot help you to automate a lot of repetitive tasks and free up the resources. So one of the common use case that a lot of enterprises are using is they are using the combination of bots or virtual agents along with service technicians to handle the help desk call, where bots will be the first line of defense, and they will take care of the easy or some kind of trivial uh, problems. And then if the problem is difficult, it will get passed to the human agent. Bots are available all the time. If your company is big and you have to maintain the help desk, then the bots can be available all the time. That way you can save a lot of risk. Like you don't have to have people working in the 24/7 shift. And if you have done right, bot simplifies UI a lot. And if you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, you can create bot once and you can deploy that to multiple channels. Now here in Microsoft term, don't get confused with the channels that we get with the Teams. The channel here means different devices or different systems. Like if I create a bot using Microsoft Bot Framework, I can deploy that as a web chat. I can deploy that on Facebook. I can deploy that on Microsoft Teams. I can deploy that on Slack as well. And also what we have found in the industry research is, if your company is big and your employee base is diverse, then having some kind of presence via chatbots may help you connect with the young users as well. So we are already familiar with the chatbots or the voice-based bots in your personal life. Like if you are a customer of major financial institution, and doesn't matter which part of the world you are from, whether you're from Northern America, Asia, Europe, or Australia, if you call a major financial institution firm, their help desk number, the first line of defense is always going to be a voice-based bot, which asks you some questions, and based on your answers, it may just based on your question, it may able to provide you the answer, or it will handle the control to actual human agent. So when it comes, let's say you are now interested in implementing bots. Now let's talk about what are some of the options we have when it comes to Microsoft ecosystem. So if you have to implement bots in Microsoft ecosystem, you can categorize those into two parts. One is software as a service, and second is platform as a service. Software as a service means Microsoft will host everything for you. All you have to do is do some configuration, and Power Virtual Agent is basically a part of that, where it provides you a no-code experience for bot development, and the ideal for the business users, the domain expert, to easily build a bot. And if you're interested, go to this link and you can sign up for the free trial and you can create your bots using Power Virtual Agent. So as long as it's free, I will definitely recommend you to start with that, especially if you don't know how to write the code. That's a really good way of going into the bot creation and see how exactly the bot works. If you are a developer, then we have another option where it calls platform as a service, where we have Microsoft Bot Framework. It's an open source SDK tools which are built for the purpose of bot development. And the target users are the developers who want to build the custom bots. And there is a good story available as well, where you can integrate your Power Virtual Agent with a custom built bot as well. So that story is also available, where let's say if you have a distributed team and you are in the process of creating 4 or 5 chatbots, then maybe your business users can create the simple one using Power Virtual Agents. And if you have to integrate your bot with some additional third-party system, or you have to do some complicated business logic, you can then integrate that with your Microsoft Bot Framework build custom bot. So this is how you can visualize bots in Microsoft ecosystem. So the Power Virtual Agents are at the top, and it basically is built gives you a no-code bot building experience, and then Microsoft Bot Framework is sitting here, and it's basically gives you a code-based approach. And Power Virtual Agents are actually built on the top of a bot framework. That means uh, it's not like it's not using something else in the backend. Even also, some of the AI services that Power Virtual Agent uses are actually the cognitive services that are available to us. So it uses pretty much everything that is available in Bot Framework and Microsoft Cognitive Services, and it adds some additional uh, features as well. So let's talk about what is Microsoft Bot Framework. In this session, since we already had a dedicated sessions on Power Virtual Agent, I'm not going to cover what like how to get with Power Virtual Agent, but I will strictly straight away start with Microsoft Bot Framework. So let's talk about what is Microsoft Bot Framework. It basically allows you to create a custom bots, and the way you can visualize is you write your code inside your bot web service, and here you can integrate that with various your in-house system or various other a technology stack you have, and then you deploy that bot to various channels. So the list of channels is huge, and it's keep on growing. And I definitely recommend you to keep checking the information about channel on Microsoft documentation. But because let's say if you're looking for a particular channel that you're not sure, you will get the latest and greatest info on Microsoft documentation here. And if I had to give you one, if I want you to take one thing home from this session is, if this is the first time you are interacting with bot, just treat bot as your standard website. If in your professional career or in your education, if you have built a standard website, then pretty much most of the concept also comes with when you build a custom chatbot, because a chatbot at the end, like behind the scene, it's nothing but a website. And just like a website, if you create a standard website, that website will not be intelligent, or it will not have a human age. So you have to add something like cognitive services to give your bot a human age. So if you have to make your bot intelligent, you have to integrate that bot with something like a cognitive services that is from Microsoft, but you also have option of integrating other AI services from other vendors as well. So that's a really good thing about Microsoft Bot Framework. You can use Microsoft Bot Framework to create your bot, but you don't have to specifically stick with Microsoft ecosystem, or you don't have to specifically stick with, let's say, Azure to deploy your bot. You can deploy a bot in any infrastructure. Of course, you get better feature set if you go with if you stick with a Microsoft ecosystem. Once you deploy a bot using Microsoft Bot Framework, you can deploy that bot to various channels available by default. Whenever you create a bot, it's available for web chat, and then after that you can add the support for additional channels. Some channels will be free, some channels will be premium. So that brings to the interesting question. Okay, if the bot framework is an open source SDK, do I have to stick with the Microsoft ecosystem to host my bot? The answer is no. If you create a bot using Microsoft Bot Framework, currently it supports C#, that is, and then it's also support the Node.js. You can deploy that bot to Azure Bot Service. That is recommended because you get a lot of additional features with Azure Bot Service. You are basically using the products from same company. There is a, if you need help with the support, you can always reach out to Microsoft for that. There is also tons of help available as well on online as well. But you can also deploy your bot to your own VM as well. That means you want to create a bot, but because of some organizational policy, you cannot use Azure or you cannot use public cloud, then you can host that VM. And that VM can be hosted anywhere in Azure or any other public cloud, or it can be in your on-premise server as well. So keep this in mind. You can use Microsoft Bot Framework, create a bot, and deploy that bot anywhere. You just don't have to stick with Microsoft ecosystem. Okay, so I see a question from Harish. If I were to create a chatbot, what are the end user language that are supported by Microsoft Bot? So if I understood this question correctly, you're asking what kind of languages that bot can support. So my answer to that is if you are going with Microsoft Bot Framework, it gives you the ability to create the bot and it will be a plain and simple bot. If you would like to add support for various languages, you can do that and just treat bot as a website. Same concept is available for a website. If I'm a web developer, I have to create a website which is in English. I can do that. All I have to do is the content that I will be surfacing. And if that content is coming from, let's say, some configuration files or some database, or let's say dynamic CRM, then that content should be in English. But let's say if if I have to build the same site in French, then the content that it's surfacing should come from should be available in French. There is a next question. Do you know if a channel is available for WhatsApp? I personally don't know about that. I need to double check on that. But if you have to deploy something on WhatsApp, I think you can definitely use the chatbot framework available from Facebook. Since we are talking about question, let me quickly post a couple of links before I forget. So if you have additional question that we will not be able to cover in today's talk, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you are interested joining us in the future conferences, which are happening in July, you can use these links to join as well. All right. Looks, thanks, Arthur. So Arthur made a comment like using through Twilio, you can get MFB to work with WhatsApp. So yeah, there is some support available, but you need to bring a Twilio in the mix as well. All right. Any other question before we move forward? All right. Looks like there is none. So when it comes to bots, right? So the bot development is pretty new because if you compare that with, let's say, mobile app development or custom website development, bot developments or chatbot developments is pretty new. Like a lot of companies or ISVs are building that from last 3-4 years, and it's not a really big time. So you definitely wanna follow this particular life cycle for your project, and this is true even if you are using something like a Power Virtual Agent, where you should spend a lot of time in planning because when it comes to traditional desktop apps, you have an entire desktop to show the contents and have a really nice user experience with your users. If you go to the mobile device, the real estate shrinks. So you have a mobile device to interact, to show the content and interact with your users. When it comes to bot, your interface is even smaller. So you have to do really good job in planning because if you launch a bot and if your users are not going to use it, then what's the use of it? Like all the efforts you did will go to waste. So you spend a lot of time in planning. Then you, while building the bot, you can use something like Bot Builder SDK. If you want to give your bot a human age, you have to use something like Cognitive Services from Microsoft, or you can inject use the AI as a services from other vendors as well. Then you can test when it comes to Microsoft Bot Framework. You can use Bot Emulator, which is an open source and cross-platform uh, uh, application that we can use to test the bots locally. And then you can use something like Application Insights if you are deployed the bot to the Azure, which monitors your uh, like what kind of questions the users are asking and whether bot is able to handle those questions or not. And then finally you can publish that to Azure, or you can publish that to your own web host as well. And then you connect to the various channels, and then you constantly evaluate your bot. This is a key, like step number 1 and step number 6 is key because launching the bot is not enough. You have to constantly monitor how the bot is doing, whether your users are able to get the answer they are seeking from the bot or not. And if they are not, then you have to constantly do the tweaks in it. So let's take a quick demo of creating your bot using Visual Studio. So when it comes to the custom code, the demos I'll be showing you is using Visual Studio. But if you are a Node.js developer, you can use Node.js as well for creating the bots. So let me pull up my Visual Studio. I already created opened the Visual Studio here, and what I'll be doing is I'll be going to a new project. And here I'm using the Visual Studio 2019. It already comes pre-built with the templates for bots. In case you are using 2015, you have to follow some additional steps to add the templates for the bots. So let's search for the bot. And the bot I'll be using is the EcoBot. And then just click next and just give it a name. Let's call it as D365 Saturday EcoBot. Then we give it a name and the solution name and just click on create. And within few minutes, we will have a working bot. All right, so the bot is created. Let me do one thing. I will just, without writing a single line of code, I'm just going to quickly build this bot and see if everything compiles or not. All right, and now let's test this bot locally. So far what I did is I just used the template that is available out of the box in Visual Studio. I created the project and I am just running that project locally on my machine. And since I'm using Windows machine, I'm using I'm using Visual Studio. I will be using the .NET for it. But if you are Node.js developer, there is support for Node.js available for as well. That means you can use a Linux-based system to create your bots as well. All right, so it's loading. It may take some time. And in the meantime, what I'll be doing is, OK, so the bot is now working locally on my machine. And this is really nice help page from Microsoft, where here you have information about how to build a bot. Then if you have to test the bot, this is the link you follow to get the emulator. Emulator is really important. Everyone should have that, especially if you're building a custom bot. And they are open source and they are free. And now let me bring the bot framework emulator video here, a link here, and let me connect with the bot. New bot configuration. So let me give it a name, D365 Saturday EcoBot01. And then we had to provide the endpoint URL. And let me copy this from here, just 78. So let me go here and paste that here. API/messages. And then click save and connect. All right. Okay, I already have a session available here where I already connected to the local host and 1378. And let's see if the bot is working here or not. So let me type something here. And if everything is fine, I should come back with an echo. That means the echo bot template comes with the inbuilt business logic where whatever I'm typing, the bot will give me the same response. That means if I'm typing hello, it is giving me the same response. But every time I type something, just monitor this message queue here. So this simulator is sending this message to the bot, and then it also showing you the what's the response coming from. And this comes really handy, especially if you have any errors or you want to test how exactly your bot experience is without actually deploying the bot. But if you see so far, this bot is really stupid bot, right? Because again, coming back with the analogy of a website, this is just a simple website which gives me an interface of a bot. What if I want to create an intelligent bot where I want to give it a human age so that if I'm launching this bot for my help desk, then it should perform similar or basic operation that a human agent will perform. So for that, you need to use something called AI as a services. And when it comes to AI as a services, if you are married to Microsoft ecosystem, cognitive services are your best option, but you can use other services from other vendors as well, like the Googles or AWS or IBM. So as I mentioned before, like if you are using Visual Studio 2015, you need to follow some additional steps before you create your first bot project. But if you want to really create intelligent bots, because that's kind of bots will give you more success. If I don't infuse AI into my bots, it will be just like a static website or any other website. So what's that additional advantage I will be getting, right? So you need to infuse something like AI as a service. And when it comes to Microsoft ecosystem, you can integrate your bot with Lewis language understanding intelligence service. You can use Azure Search, you can use Q&A Maker, you can use a custom speech service, you can use speaker recognition API, Bing Search API. So in today's demo, what I'll be showing you is how easy it is to use one of the AI as a services from Microsoft like Q&A service, and then use that and create a bot within 10 minutes, a working bot which I'll be deploying to Azure. And if you are in front of your screen and if you have valid subscription to the Azure, you can follow the same steps along with me. So you can also have a working bot toward the end of the session. So let's go and quickly see the demo and create a bot. Again, to create the bot using Q&A Maker service, you can have a working bot without writing a single line of code. So anyone of you in the audience is not a developer, but have a valid Azure subscription, you can also follow these steps along with me. So with that, let me go to use your favorite browser and just Google or Bing for Q&A Maker. And the link you are looking for is qnamaker.ai. Just open that up. And you can sign up for Q&A Maker for free as well. Or if you don't have access to Azure, you can also sign up for the free trial. So once the site is loaded, we will be start creating a knowledge base here. So it looks like I already logged in here. The first thing you need to do is you need to create a knowledge base. So what I'll be doing is click on create a knowledge base here. And to use Q&A Maker and to deploy bot and using that to deploy the bot, you need to have a subscription to the Azure. And you will see here, the first thing it's asking me is to create a Q&A Maker service. So let's click on that. And what will happen is it will bring me to the Azure portal where it will be asking me some parameters to enter to create a Q&A Maker service. So let's give it a name, 365 Saturday bots demo 01. Then select the subscription, then the pricing tier. You can start with the free tier as well, but I have already created a bot with the free tier, so I'll be going with the paid version. So in each subscription, you can have only one free tier for each subscription. Then you have to specify the resource group. And then you have to specify the Azure search pricing. So you can also start with the free, and you can elevate depending on your need with the paid options as well. Location is the key. Depending on your users and depending on your geographical location, you should select your location wisely. So I'll be selecting East to West because I'm from the East Coast of US. Then it will ask me for the app name. As long as it's unique, it will be fine. Then it will ask me the website location. Again, I'll be selecting East to West. And one thing which is true with Azure or any other public cloud is whenever you are creating any resources, you want to make sure those resources are in the same geographical location. So you don't have a problem of latency there. Then if whether I want to have an application inside, yes, and I also want this in the same location where my Q&A maker service is there. And if you enter all this stuff, then just click create. And within a couple of minutes, depending on your internet connection, looks like I cannot use the free tier anymore. So let me go with the paid tier here. So I'll go with the basic B and click create. And it's validating right now, and it will create. The deployment is in progress for Q&A maker service. And it will take a 1 or 2 minutes. So this is a really good question, good time to ask any questions you may have. And again, raise your hands in the team or type your questions in the chat window or unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, it's going on right now. And we can see the progress is happening. And this operation should take a minute or two. Once it is created, yes, looks like it's created. I just need to go back to my previous page. And here I just need to click refresh in the step 2, where this page now should be able to bring. Okay, right now the question is, so far I haven't created the bot. Only thing I'm doing so far is creating a knowledge base. So I will, after like couple of steps, two more steps, we will be actually deploying the bot, and I will let you know what we're doing. Okay, someone is saying they are getting the error message, Azure Search Resource Provider is not registered. So when it comes to Azure, depending on your organization policies, some resources may not be available in a resource group. So in that case, unfortunately, you will need to work and see what's allowed and what's not allowed in your resource group that you have. Okay, now select the Microsoft Azure Active Directory. If you don't know what your Azure Active Directory is, whenever you created the Q&A Maker service, just click here. And in the left-hand navigation, click on Azure Active Directory. And then here you will find the information about the name of your Azure Active Directory. So if I go here, so this is my primary domain. And if I go here, this is the one I will be using because the same account I have been using to access the other Azure Active Directory as well. And if you are like me, because I'm a consultant, I use this account for other clients or other POCs as well. And then within that Azure Active Directory, if you have multiple subscription, you select the one where you want to deploy. Where you have created the Q&A Maker service. So I will be using this one. And this is the one. This role does not have, okay, this is something new I'm getting. So I already have a one which I already created. So I'll be using that. I need to troubleshoot this and see what this particular error means. And I'll do that later. And here, when it comes to the Q&A Maker service, you can specify different languages. When I created this, I selected English, but here you have option of selecting other languages as well. I think there are some 13, 14 languages are available and the list is growing up. And there is another thing with the Q&A Maker service is if you don't want to have multi-turn conversation, then there are some other languages are supported as well, especially from India. There are some 4 or 5 other major languages supported as well there. So here we're just giving the knowledge base here. So let's give it a name as, since what I'll be doing is I will be creating a knowledge base. Knowledge base is something you already have, like, you want to use to create some inventory, so you can use that to answer people's question. I saw there is a question on that one. And when you create a knowledge base, you have multiple options. If you have, let's say, some kind of question answers in the form of Excel file, or if it's in the or in your public site, you can use that as well, or you can also use the information from a Word document or from Excel document or and PDF as well. So here I'll be using a knowledge base for COVID-19. So I'll be using a public facing website from US government where there is some information about COVID is available. So I'll be going it as a name as a 365 demo COVID-19. And step number 4 is where you can populate your knowledge base. Here you have option of providing the URL. One thing you have to keep in mind is uh, the URL has to be publicly accessible because this is hosted by Microsoft. So if you have any site which is behind your firewall, Q&A makers will not be able to access that. So the link I'll be using is this one, where this page, it's a public page from CDC, is one of the agencies from US. It's a government agency which has information about the FAQs about COVID. So I'll be using that. Then I can add multiple URLs, and if you have any knowledge base behind a firewall, you can also download that into a Word or Excel, and you can also upload that file from your machine as well. The next thing is chit chat, the persona that we would like to select. By default, it's none, but depending on your target audience, you can go with professional, friendly, witty, caring, and enthusiastic. I'll be going with witty because I just want to, depending on the persona, the kind of response that will get differ. So that's why you had to be a little bit careful, because if you are doing this quick demo to the CTOs or CIOs, you don't want to use witty persona. You should stick with friendly, professional one. With that, if everything is fine, just click on create knowledge base. And what will happen is this Q&A maker page will scan all the contents of this page, and it will extract the information in the form of question and answers. And generally, depending on how much content you have on the page, it may take you from 1 to 5 minutes, and looks like it was done in less than 2 minutes. So all the questions that we have, it actually capture that, and it presented us in the form of question answer format. And here as a editor, I can edit these questions. I can add some additional questions as well. I can add a Q&A pair here as well. So let me add a question about uh, how is the session, and let me add answer. All right. So it's available. Let's say you want to edit this, you can go here and edit this as well. So if I click on this, I can edit the question that got automatically populated. I can go here, I can edit the answer as well, and I can also add the follow-up prompt as well. So once everything is there, if you see what you can just then go through all the question answers here, and let's go to the end, page number 20, because I didn't see so many questions there. So depending on the persona, you will see some question answers will be pre-built, pre-baked as well for you. And these question answers are dependent on what kind of persona you have selected. So since we selected witty, we have some questions and answers that were not part of this particular page as well. Okay, so now let's see how, let's quickly test this out. So what you can do is, once your knowledge base is created, on the same page we have this test option. So if I click on test, let's click on save and train. So this is the first step we have to do is, once the knowledge base is created, click on save and train. And I had to do this operation because I have added additional question as well. And if I click on test, I will have a nice user interface right here where I can test this Q&A maker service. So let's ask what is COVID. So if there is a answer related to that, it will go back and search for that answer. If the answer is there, it will come back with the response. And now let me ask another question. What is your name? So this answer to this question was not there in the particular CDS page, but since we selected the persona as witty, it came back with some witty answer, right? Now, if you like what you saw, the next thing we had to do is we had to publish it. So right now we haven't created the bot. All we have done is created a Q&A maker knowledge base. And right now we are publishing that. And if you see, it's published now, and you see here on this page, I have two options. I can call this Q&A maker service using a Postman or curl. So this tells you that if you just want to consume Q&A maker service, you can just use without creating the bot, you can inject this Q&A maker service as well. That means you have a knowledge base, and you can expose that knowledge base via a custom Power App or via a custom a page or a custom application as well. But the next step we will be doing is we will be creating a bot using this particular Q&A maker service. So click on create a bot, and again it will launch the Azure portal. Looks like it loading, and it's not going to the page I wanted. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, let's go to the published knowledge base here. Looks like my session got expired, and that's why it's asking me to log in again. But this is a good time to ask any questions you may have or anything that's not clear so far in the demos that I have conducted. Okay, let me see if okay, let me see if other, okay, perfect. So this is the one we selected, the D365 demo COVID-19. Let's go to it. And let's go to the publish option. So it's already published. And then here on this, once it's published, then we get this particular button. And this is the button I was looking for because the moment you click on this button, it will launch the Azure portal, and it will ask you, and basically it will open up the page to create a new bot service. Okay, the question is, what's exactly difference between this bot and Power Virtual Agent bot? So I don't know whether you joined the session late or not, but Power Virtual Agent is software as a service offering from Microsoft where you don't have to do these additional steps. Everything is done by Microsoft for you. Whereas if you go with bot framework, you have to create your bot, you have to decide where to host that bot, and you have more tighter control over what your bot can and cannot do. Uh, the way Power Virtual Agent works is you just have to sign up for it, and you have to pay the licensing fees, and you can just start creating the bots. And it is a little bit pricey right now to my liking, but I get it why Microsoft has it a little bit pricey, because you get a lot of things. You don't have to worry about Azure. You don't have to worry about any injecting any kind of AI as a service like cognitive services in it. Everything is fully baked for you. So everything is here. Like let's configure this and then create a bot, and then I will answer rest of the question because the creation of bot will take 1 or 2 minutes. So it will come with this particular pre-built name. If your name is good, we'll go with that. Then select the subscription, the resource group. Again, the location, I would like to select the same location where my rest of the resources are. So in this case, it's going to be East to West. The pricing tier, I will be going. So this is where Microsoft is doing a little bit a trick, little bit differently than my liking, where by default it should select the free tier, but it's selecting the S1, which is a paid tier. So let's go with F0, and then the app name, and this will be the name of the app. So remember, in the beginning of the session, I mentioned a bot is nothing but a website. So here you can see when we are trying to deploy this bot, the Azure portal is asking us for the name of the like the bot, and then at the end of it, it's going to add azurewebsite.net. So this tells you is at the end of the day, a bot is nothing but a website. So here, when it comes to the SDK, we have two choices right now. We can use either C# or Node.js. For this demo, I'll be using C#. And it already came pre-built with the Q&A auth key. So this is very important. Anyone can use my Q&A knowledge base as long as they have this authentication key. So make sure you are not checking this authentication key anywhere, neither in your source control or not you are like exposing that. And don't worry, I'll be deleting this bot later after the demo. So even if you are taking the screenshot or if you're watching this recording later, this Q&A key will not be valid. Then use whether I want to have application insights or not, and then east to west, and just click create. And if everything is right, looks like the request bot ID is not available. So let's call bot02 and then click create. If everything is right, then the deployment will start. And again, this will take 1 or 2 minutes, but after that, you will have a working bot without writing a single line of code. So looks like let's come back to the questions. Okay, have you experience of using a bot framework composer? That's a good question. So bot framework composer is again an open source product from Microsoft, which is built for building bot development. So use bot composer in conjunction with bot framework, where using composer you can create a user interface for your bot, and later on you can integrate that using the bot framework. So, okay. Any other questions? So while it's happening, let's me quickly open the link for the bot framework composer. So do check it out. It's open source. You can also uh, uh, see like participate in its development, and you can see the entire information about it, how to access it, and how to use that for the bot development. Now let's see if it's still happening. It's still going on. All right, so our bot is now deployed. So let's go back and click on go to the resources. All right, so so if you look at the time, maybe the moment we start creating the knowledge base, if you look at the end-to-end time, within 10 minutes, we will have a working bot, which will be able to give you questions on COVID-19. So here, the bot is deployed and I'm in the Azure portal. Now let's quickly test this bot. So the option I'll be using in the left-hand navigation is click on the test in web chat. And here I will be asking the question, let's say hello, and see if everything is working fine. Okay, and then let's ask the question about COVID. So if everything is right, then and if it's able to connect correctly with our Q&A maker service, then it will come back with answers. So far everything is working right. Now let's see the channels. So in the left hand navigation, I'll be clicking on channels. So the moment you deploy a bot, it's by default available for as a web chat, but you can have option of adding the additional channels as well. The next thing I'll be doing is I'll be adding this bot to the Teams. So what I'll do is click on the Teams. And then the first thing it's asking me whether this is for Microsoft Teams commercial or Microsoft Teams government. I'll be using Microsoft Teams commercial and then click save. And I just had to agree to the terms of service and click agree. And within a few seconds, this bot will be available to use in the Teams as well. So you see how easy it is to deploy bots to various channels. Now let's go ahead and not this one. Let's go ahead and so far we tested this bot inside the Azure portal. Now let's go ahead and see how this bot will work if I had to test outside of the Azure. Now imagine a scenario where you created the bot is working fine. Now you want to handle the testing to your end users, right? So how I can do that? So here I can click on get bot embed code. And by default, the Teams is selected, but I want to check this bot into using the web chat to begin with. And the first thing is I am getting the code to inject this bot as an iframe, and I'll be using, let me paste it here. And for the authentication, I'll be needing this particular key. The only kind of authentication right now I have to expose this bot as a web client is this particular key. So make sure you are not exposing this key to anywhere else. Okay, let's add here. And then let's copy this URL and paste into another tab. If everything is right, we will have our bot working as a web page here. So let me click type hello. You have to just watch the bottom part of the screen. And what is COVID-19? Everything is working fine. That means our bot is working good. There is a question about where did you use C# project in this bot? So if you remember, when we created this bot service, the language of choice we use is C#. That's where I created that. But I'm getting from where you are coming to that question, and I will answer that question in a 2 minutes, like where exactly the entire linking happening, like where I can see my Visual Studio project, right? Okay, then let's go to here and let's see the teams, like how I can use this team bot inside the teams. Okay, go back to the channel and click on Microsoft Team. Let me copy this address and paste it here. And now I'm launching the team, and I should be able to test this one bot here. Okay. And as soon as the teams is loaded, without doing any additional deployment, I can use this bot inside the team as well. I just need uh, the unique identifier of my bot, and right now I can connect with this bot here. So if I type hello, and if everything is working fine behind the scene, we will get back with the answer. Let's ask what is COVID-19, and if everything is fine, right, with the Q&A maker service and with the bot, we will get the answers from our knowledge base. Now in our knowledge base, we added one particular question, which is how is the session? Okay, the bot came back with the answer is please ask the attendee. So far, whatever the contents I covered uh, were enough you to explain like how the bot works. So far we saw like how to deploy the bot now, but we didn't write a single line of code, right? What we did is we created the Q&A maker service. Using that, we deployed the bot in the Azure. But what if now I want to do some additional changes in it? Because so far whatever I saw, it's good, but now I want to do some additional changes in it. So for that, click on the build option in the left hand navigation, and then here you can download the source code this bot is using. So click on download bot source code. This operation will take a couple of minutes to generate the source code and create a zip file. Since while deploying this bot we use C# as a SDK language, it will download the Visual Studio project for us. And now I'll be taking a look at the questions, because this operation will take a couple of minutes. So if you don't, so there are a couple of ways when you can create a bot. You can directly start with the Visual Studio and then create a bot, or if you know, if you are sure for sure you're going to deploy your bot to Azure, you can create Azure bot service, and from there you can download the source code and then start adding customization to your bot. So it is downloaded here. Let me move into a temp directory, and then I will share that on the other window. Okay, so I will copy this in the temp window. I just need to extract all the files for this particular project. Once everything is done, I can then open this project. Use and I can have the same source control that this particular bot is using on my machine. So I can do some additional changes in that. I know we are running out of time, so let me see what's next I have. So this is the easiest and quickest way to build your bot. And in this demo, I already showed you like how to inject Q&A maker service, which is AI the service. But similarly, you can inject other services as well. And when it comes to cognitive services are nothing but REST endpoints that are exposed to us. And I think there was a session earlier in the day which cover cognitive services in detail. So we're not going to go in detail for that. But if you are interested in adding any cognitive service, then you just have to go to that service page and see how to make the call, what kind of keys you need, and then what kind of response that will come back once you make the call, and you can start using that. So this is the source code of the bot that we created. It came back with everything like the keys that it's using, the connection to the Q&A maker as well. Okay, let's see what's the next.
So Prashant, while you're kind of finishing off, we're out of time, but just want to check if with everyone, if you guys are okay, I'm staying for 2-3 more minutes just for Prashant to finish off his session. That would be great. And can we try to close it down within the next 2-3 minutes, Prashant? Is that
yes.
okay? Or,
yeah, that's fine. So last thing I have is
leave a little bit for the next one, next event. Okay.
Yep. So the last thing I want to add is, in case you are interested learning more about Power Apps or Power Automate or SharePoint or Teams in general, and you don't have access to Office 365 tenant, go to this link where if you join this Office 365 developer program, you get your personal Microsoft 365 E5 subscription for free. And that subscription is valid for 3 months, and it comes with 25 users. So it's really good for your personal learning and training. And of course, you can sign up for the trial as well. When it comes to Azure, the best way for self-learning is if your company is giving you MSDN subscription, then via that you get your personal Azure subscription with a predefined credit as well. So definitely use that. If you don't have MSDN, you can always sign up for a free trial of Azure, where you do require credit card. And right now we get $200 of credit that we can use over the course of 1 year. And there is another program from Microsoft called DreamSpark or Microsoft Imagine, where you need to have a valid .edu account and your school needs to participate in that program. So via that program also you get Azure subscription for free, but it comes with limited feature set. So hopefully the contents we covered today made you excited about the bots, and you'll at least go home and play with the bots and see and then start using that in your enterprises as well. These are the references I followed. These are the contact details. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or connect with me on LinkedIn or connect me on Twitter, and please provide a feedback. And with that, thank you very much for staying late, and thank you very much for the organizers for organizing this. I know it takes a lot of efforts to organize the events like this and to dedicate your time on a day like Saturday. So with that, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can stick around and ask me in the chat window or unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Prashant. Really appreciated. And as you've just mentioned, for those of you who still want to kind of stay behind for a few more minutes, ask Prashant a few questions. I'm sure, very exciting and interesting session. So I'm sure there'll be loads of other questions. But for everyone else, I'll stop the recording, if that's okay. And I'll let you kind of finish off the next 5 minutes or so, if there are